there is any one particular genre of film that I love, it's probably one of the most niche and weirdly specific categories in filmmaking: the kids on bike adventure. If you're Australian, you may have had a crush on Nicole Kidman and BMX Bandits. If you, like me, are a product of the 80s, you'll probably have fond memories of E.T. and Goonies, both exemplary films of their time and their genre. This genre has even had a surprising resurgence in the loving homage to the 80s in Netflix's Stephen King emulating D&D embracing tentpole event series Stranger Things. It's between these eras, the Spielbergian classic of the 80s, and the appointment viewing of modern streaming, that we find the underappreciated cinematic classic, Super 8.
We have to find this thing. I don't feel good about this.
Go! I saw it. No one believes me.
I believe you. What the hell?
Now celebrating its 10th anniversary, Super 8, directed by super producer director J.J. Abrams and starring Kyle Chandler, Joel Courtney, and Ellie Fanning, could fit into many genres. It works as a straight-up thriller, a family drama, a 70s paranoia, and primarily and prominently a science fiction. It would be far easier to call this film for what it is: an Amblin movie. Amblin is the American film production company founded by one of Hollywood's greatest, Steven Spielberg, along with Kathleen Kennedy and Frank Marshall in 1981, and is responsible for some of your favourite films, including E.T., Goonies, Gremlins, Back to the Future, Casper, and even more recently, Ready Player One and Jurassic World. It's a little wonder that Super 8 wears its nostalgic heart on its sleeve. It's a throwback and an homage to the movies that I loved and continue to love to this day. Super 8 is set in the 1970s and follows a group of likeable young adults who are filming their own zombie apocalypse movie when a train derails, releasing a dangerous and chaotic entity into their sleepy, middle of everywhere on the road to nowhere town that will make you wistful for a place that you've never been, that feels completely familiar nonetheless. It feels like every town from every film, a steelwork town that's a little run down, but bursting with the type of adventure only kids can find. The police are overworked, the parents are nearly never seen, and the kids are always out at midnight, riding their bikes like they stole them. It all feels so familiar, to the point where you swore that this was where you grew up, even when you didn't. J.J. Abrams was fresh off the success of revitalizing Star Trek, pre-burnout of Star Wars, when he wrote and directed this film, and it shows. In conceptualizing the film, he leaned into his mystery box marketing, shrouding the film in a secrecy he utilized in Cloverfield and the TV show Lost. The thing is, I don't really think he needed to. While building an air of mystery around the plot of the alien invasion, the actual film shows that it was clear that Abrams set out to make a movie about making movies, likely drawing on the childhood he shared in common with many of his filmmaking peers. The alien invasion blockbuster element just feels like the framing device on which the film unfolds around. It's incredibly well filmed, with a camera that never sits still and always finds some interesting angle to present the action unfolding on screen. The big see this in surround sound moment of the movie is the train derailment, while the kids are shooting their own zombie flick. Thinking that they've lucked out on production value, the kids are instead subjected to an insane eruption of spectacle, explosions, and carnage that they just barely escape. Abrams claimed that he wanted this scene to be presented from the kids' point of view, and it is incredibly bombastic and over the top. It's a standout set piece that will give your speakers a workout. There was a very smart choice to shoot this movie on film rather than digitally, and it gives the movie a warmth and richness that's missing from a lot of contemporary films. I think this helps subliminally sell the audience on the nostalgia of those 80s Amblin movies that Super 8 is emulating, even if the viewer isn't quite aware of it. It really is a beautiful looking movie. And even though it's quite well known that Abrams abuses lens flares in his filmography, I never found it distracting here, unlike in some of his other films. His direction is snappy and kinetic, and also knows when to slow it down and sit with the quieter moments. That was something I always loved about Spielberg's works, and a lot of those other films of the 1980s that Abrams is very clearly homaging here. They didn't treat the kids like kids. They're foul-mouthed and crass, and all dealing with their own personal issues that seem so much bigger than the alien running rampant in their town. Emotions like love and loss, resentment, grief, and friendship that I remember being all-consuming as a kid are captured with earnestness and sincerity. It's in these quiet character emotion beats that the film really soars, and that's due to the leads in the movie, Joel Courtney and Ellie Fanning. Courtney is quiet and really sells the loneliness of a kid whose mother has passed away and whose father has buried himself in work. He's a kid that's quietly proud of his model trains, but also dedicated to his friends and their endeavours. But it's Ellie Fanning who really steals the film. If Courtney is the heart of the movie, Fanning is definitely the soul. She sells so much pain and grief and loss in her eyes, it's little surprise she's become one of Hollywood's most in-demand actresses. Honestly, the whole cast here is solid top to bottom. I really like Riley Griffiths in the best friend role that could have been played as annoying or cloying, but actually reminded me of a few people I grew up with. As far as I know, he was one of only 2 movies he's ever starred in. Ryan Lee plays the motor-mouth pyromaniac that really grew on me by the time the film credits rolled. The whole cast, top to bottom, especially the kids, are fantastic in the film. And it really feels like a prototype for the type of characters we'd later see in Stranger Things and, perhaps more on point, It, Chapter 1. Shout out to that one and reoccurring stoner character who was pretty consistently making me laugh and scoring the PG-13 F-bomb. I wish we got a little more time with the adult characters in the film, if only because I know that Kyle Chandler is a phenomenal actor, but this particular type of movie actively sidelines the adults to focus on the kids. At the end of the day, it's a movie about kids, but it isn't really a kids' movie. There is a darkness and danger, and there is a real menace to the alien in Super 8. This is the type of movie we don't see a lot of anymore. The type of movie designed to scare and thrill kids in equal measure. I wish we got more of them, because Super 8 is a really good film 10 years later. The fact that it is a period film set in the 1970s, utilizing a mixture of practical effects and ILM effects wizardry, gives the movie a timeless quality, and is just as thrilling today as it was when it was released. Is there anything I wanted more of? Well, if anything, I wish the alien had been more distinctive. The only thing holding this movie back is a lack of iconic monster design. It's definitely very alien-esque, but not distinctive in the way that Alien was. It's a busy design and could have used another pass in the design of the overall construction. The heart of the film is enough to overcome the forgettable monster, but I do like that they never attempted to make it cute and cuddly. The monster is a legitimate monster, feasting on humans for food and all. It's not overly kid-friendly, so I give Abrams credit for that. Super 8, to me at least, 10 years on, is still an easy A. I really do love this movie, and truly believe that if it had come out just a few years later, it could have capitalized on the Stranger Things hype. It has all the things I love, and lovingly references the films of my youth. More impressively, it makes me nostalgic for a time I never saw, and people I never knew. So, Super 8, have you watched it? Do you need to watch it again? The answer to both of those questions should be yes, and as usual, stay tuned for more reviews coming soon to a screen near you. Later days.